Sean Wickersham revealed a very interesting bit of information in his recent profile of new Denver Broncos head coach Sean Payton. He said that he told Russell Wilson that he needs to salvage his career in order to salvage his career, he needs to focus less on Russell Inc., saying, quote, "Will you effing stop kissing all the babies? You're not running for public office."
So look, something I say often on the show, and a lot of us say, it's like, look, I'm with you when you're right. Mm-hmm. And I'm with Sean Payton when he's right. Now, there's more to it. I think that, when we make it to this type of level that Russell Wilson has climbed and been sitting at for 10 years now, mm-hmm. You need people that can sit back, watch, analyze, and give you the real, right? You hear people all the time say, oh, don't have yes men around you, don't have yes women around you. And I don't think that's the case with Russell. I do think there's people in his life that keep it real with him. But this is a really good thing for Russ because, look, he won the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if he was the MVP of that Super Bowl, but he won the Super Bowl. He's been the most winningest quarter. He's the most winningest quarterback through 10 years. So he's had a lot of success on the field. We all know that. He married a supermodel, a superstar in Sierra, right? Like, that's a big deal, and their love is real. You understand? Like, I've been around them too, and it's real. I love the relationship that they have and what they have built. And then he's had a lot of success off the field as well with, building companies. And so Russell is, I would say Russell is on the path to becoming a mogul. Who's a mogul? Tom Brady does it quietly. You see Peyton Manning, which Peyton Manning is doing with Omaha Productions and other ventures. There's LeBron James. They do it. But it's like you got to do it at the right time, right? And you also got to know when to add and when to subtract. And so Russell's in this pivotal moment in his career where it's like all those things are easier when you're winning. So if you're winning, if you're the Russell Wilson that we saw the first 6, 7 years, 8 years, the production companies, the apparel brands, you becoming an owner, all of that stuff becomes easy. Think about the journey of Russell Wilson the last 2 years. The last 2 years, it's been a lot of negativity. It's been rough, right? You got people saying, like, who is this guy? And they're questioning Russell Wilson. So naturally, Russell's going to come back around and say, like, no, I got to protect myself. I got to protect my image. I got to protect my family. I got to protect my future. You got to control the narrative. But if you do too much of that, that can hurt what you're doing on the field. And if that hurts what you do on the field, then it hurts everything. So for Sean Payton to be in Russell Wilson's life in this moment, talking like that, put that back up. Let's put that back up there. That's big. This is what Sean Payton does. Sean Payton is in that same category as Bill Belichick. Sean Payton is in that same category as Bill Parcells, as Mike Tomlin. There's only a handful of coaches still to this day, Todd Bowles, even Pete Carroll in his loving, kumbaya, LA vibe way. There's only a handful of coaches that can talk to superstars this way. In basketball, Ashley, let's name a few, right? Like our coach for the Spurs, what's his name?
Greg Popovich.
Like Popovich. Popovich can go to a superstar and keep it all the way funky, all the way 100, right? Without them getting all in their feelings. So if you go back up to that, throw that back up there, But look what he said. He knew this was going to come out. He knew we were going to be talking about this. Will you fucking stop kissing all the babies? He said, you're not running for public office. You're talking to Russell Wilson like that. You're starting quarterback, the face of the franchise, the most winningest quarterback through 10 years. The guy who is, making $50 million a year, top 5 paid in the NFL, in the history of the NFL. And guess what? That's what get teams back on track and athletes back on track. So I absolutely love this from Sean Payton. And I know my bromancer, whatever you want to call it, because every time you talk about Russell Wilson, you always say bromance. But I know he's embracing this, and it could be uncomfortable at times. And so, Ashley, what I'm seeing right now, the last thing I would say here, what I'm seeing right now, Let's watch out for the Denver Broncos. Let's watch out for the Denver Broncos.
You feel better? I feel like you had a lot to get off your chest.
That was a lot?
It was a little lengthy, but that's okay. Russell Wilson gets you fired up. I get it.
Little lengthy.
JP said that Malcolm Smith was actually the MVP of that Super Bowl. He Googled that, so that's an interesting stat.
Malcolm Smith, was that Malcolm Smith, what did he play? Was he play defense?
I believe so. JP, double check that for me, but I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, I believe he did.
Hey, everybody on TikTok, Ashley just said I got lengthy.
Linebacker.
Oh, linebacker. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I will say this. I have pushback on just two things that Sean Payton said here. Or just one. I know a lot of people talk about Russell Wilson being corny, I don't think he's corny. I think he comes across disingenuous at times. Meaning he just comes across very much like that's not who you really are, but that's who you're pretending to be, kind of. I think when it comes to who he is within the realm of the sport, I think Russell Wilson behind closed doors is a lot more fun than Russell Wilson when he's in front of the cameras within the NFL. I think he's a lot more laid back. I think he's a lot more cracking jokes. I think he's a lot more relatable. I think that for whatever reason, he feels that he has to be a perfect version of Russell Wilson in front of the camera. PC Russell Wilson, politically correct Russell Wilson. He has to be, say the right thing, not say too much.
Right.
And I don't think that's who he is behind closed doors. I feel like if he kind of led with a little bit more of who Russell probably is at home,
right?
Who Russell is, in practice, who Russell is when he's working out in the offseason, who Russell is on vacation, I think the public perception of him would change a little bit. Guys would be able to relate to him more.
Right.
I also think that the only thing I didn't like about what Sean Payton said here was the word salvage his career. Russell Wilson had a bad year, but Russell Wilson hasn't had a bad career. He is a Super Bowl winner. He's an MVP. He's probably going into the Hall of Fame. Right. Like, he is solidified as a great quarterback. He's had a great career. I don't think one season, down season, makes or breaks that. So the word salvage and salvage his career, I don't think he has to salvage his career. I think he has to salvage the perception of him and the perception of him as a quarterback and a winning quarterback. But his career is solidified. What he did in Seattle, it's solidified. You can't take that from him.
I agree with you, Ashley, on that, but that's actually a good thing that he said it that way.
No, I don't. I just think that I just don't think it's true.
100%.
Yeah.
But what's happening right now? Okay, let's put ourselves in Russell Wilson's shoes. When you have a coach that says this publicly, you'll read through some of this and be like, "That's valid. That's valid," or "Damn, why he say that?" And then you may go to him and say, "Well, Coach, why'd you say that?" You know what I'm saying? Like Jay Cutler, 2008, he publicly came out and he said, "You know what? If B. Marsh continue to get in trouble, we're just gonna have to move on from him." And I was crushed. I'm sitting there watching this, like, "Yo, how my dog say that?" And I pull him to the side. I'm like, "Bro, this is how that made me feel. Why would you do that?" And but it made me think. It made me real curious. He said, "B, because it's true." And so I didn't agree with all he said, but what he said and how he did it pushed me to think, and that thinking got me on a better path and a better track, and I eventually got there, right? So Russell Wilson, if we're in his shoes right now, he's like, "Damn, yeah, Ashley's right. Salvage my career. You know who I am." But then what's happening now is he's on notice. He might be even walking on some eggshells. And it's like, all right, now I got to be on my game. And now, like, that don't matter. That don't matter. It's about ball. It's about this. And so this is what makes Sean Payton special.
I agree completely. I just think for me, my biggest knock against Russell, I don't use a down year as a defining moment in a player's career. If you've had several down years, that's a conversation. That was he a one and done? Was he a one-hit wonder, a one-trick pony? But we're talking about Russell Wilson, who his resume speaks for itself. I mean, you pull up the stats. You pull up 2-time Super Bowl, been to a Super Bowl twice, back-to-back.
Right.
Winning one. Should have had 2 if it wasn't for that crazy call that, the Marshawn Lynch not running it called, but that's different. I mean, Russell's solidified in what he's done in his career.
Right.
I just wish Russell was less robotic.
Hold on.
I think that's the word, not disingenuous. Robotic is the word.
Actually, you were dead on your assessment, and it's not like I think. You know, this is my brother. Hold on.
Russell Wilson is robotic.
I tell you, listen. I'll tell you, and you know, I don't even go disclose too much personal stuff and private things. Russell Wilson is amazing when we freaking in Cabo. He's amazing when you're at his crib and we're training and we're out to dinner. He is amazing. But you gotta understand that, like, not just Russell Wilson, it's like LeBron James. Do we always get the most genuine version of LeBron James?
I'll tell you right now, who LeBron is on camera is who LeBron is behind the scenes.
Really?
He is that
what
person.
about this? Why the hell, like, and this is just something like just very interesting and very
he is that
petty,
person.
but LeBron James is not trying to control his narrative. LeBron James, like they keep saying, every time he has a book in his hand, he's always on page 1.
I mean, it's funny, but I'm saying LeBron's mannerisms, the way he talks, the way he speaks, the way he carries himself, that's LeBron if you saw him outside of the game.
Okay.
Like Russell he flips a switch almost, and I feel like Russell has a lot more about his personality that's endearing that he like if a reporter, if you're in a post conference after a game and a reporter says something crazy to you, I want to hear Russell say, we're not talking about that right now. I'm not dealing with that. Like I don't want to hear him say, yeah, you know, we're just going through a little bit of a rough. No, like give me a Tom Brady answer, call him out.
Okay, so I bring up.
We're not worried about that. The reason why
I bring up LeBron, and I'm gonna get to that. Let me write down because you know I can forget some stuff. All right, post game response. Okay, boom, I got that. LeBron James, is he not strategic when he steps in front of the camera?
Strategic in what way? LeBron
controlling his message, controlling his narrative, understanding what he's trying to accomplish, understanding where he's going tomorrow, where he's going in 5 years. Is LeBron James strategic?
That's the whole clutch machine.
And I'm not trying to argue with you, but
no. That's the whole clutch machine. So but LeBron's personality is the same.
Okay, but is he strategic when how he moves publicly and how he conducts himself in those post game interviews?
Yes and no, but it's yes and no, because is he strategic about maybe?
Ashley, he is.
Yes and no.
His person, he'll curse. LeBron will curse. LeBron will give you what you just said. But now you're talking about Russell Wilson. Don't forget who Russell Wilson is. This Christian, his faith, his religion. That's who he is.
I agree.
So. He's not going to come out and curse.
I don't expect him to.
He's not going to be combative. He is a kumbaya loving guy. So that part where people usually get mad, and that's why people like frown on the guys like Russell Wilson and the Tim Tebow's. Tim Tebow went through the same thing. Oh, when the whole world responds this way, now you want me to respond that way, but I'm walking this way. So
yeah, but Tim Tebow was the same way outside of the cameras as he was in. There's a difference between being strategic and being disingenuous. Being strategic is not the same thing as being disingenuous. Who Tim Tebow is in front of the cameras is who he is behind the scenes. It's the same guy who waited to have sex until he was married.
We don't know that. That's the narrative. That's the narrative that he pushed.
But what I'm saying is, as even you know this, as somebody who knows Russell Wilson outside of the specs of the game, you know for a fact that he is a lot cooler, a lot chiller, a lot more relatable than he presents himself in front of the camera. He acts like a politician when the cameras are on. He acts like somebody who's very robotic and who's very like PC. There doesn't come across like he's giving you the real. He's not giving you his real thoughts. He's not giving you his real emotions. It's a very watered down what you want to hear version, and people have a hard time relating to that. Tell me how you really feel. You don't have to be rude. You don't have to scream. You don't have to curse. But be authentic, be real.
But why? Because when I'm real, like I'm gonna give you the real. right? Like he has, how many followers does his wife have? How many followers does he have? How many people is watching Monday Night Football? How many people is watching these post-conference interviews? So as athletes and artists or people in prominent positions, right, that have a platform, right? Like that's why I brought up LeBron, because if you can control your narrative, and sometimes you can go too far, and I agree with you, sometimes Russell Wilson and other athletes may go too far trying to control their narrative. But if I give you my real, you're going to hurt me. So you go out there and you try to control what you can control. And a lot of athletes, and look at Bill Belichick. He gives you who he is and is real, but he ain't giving you nothing. It's like, y'all don't even deserve this.
That's that's different though. You being coy and you being Russell Wilson, the biggest knock against Russell in his entire career, even with guys who have played with him, is that he is not relatable. Yeah. He seems very much, I am here and the rest of you are here. And that may be fine if you work in an office. Right. But when you are a quarterback of a football team, you have to be relatable to the guys on the field with you. You want to be relatable to the guys on the field with you. And in order to do that, you have to go ahead and be less, I'm Russell Wilson, Russell Inc., politician, I'm going to give you, and you have to just chill a little bit. I'm willing to bet Sierra and him have a very different relationship behind closed doors. They're cracking jokes. They're laughing. He's making jokes. He's fun. Why can't you lead with some of that relatability in public?
So let's get to
when you deal with people for a living.
So I do agree with you there, right? But again, you know, when you are faith-based and you're a Christian guy, like, and you could, all of those guys are not relatable in the locker room. Hell, even when I gave my life to Christ and I was on my walk, right, people looking at me like, Bible study, pray, read a book. No, they're looking at me like I'm weird, right? And so, and I'm not even in that class of the Russell Wilsons and the Tim Tebow's of the world, Brian Dawkins of the world. They're not relatable. So, of course, a lot of these guys aren't going to understand that. But also something that we got to understand, and we don't even have time on these type of shows. This is why I love, you know, in this space, because we're supposed to be on to the next thing. But right now, we can actually have this conversation and peel back the layers. You know, we have the, you know, I Am Athlete show, which we'll bring back here in October. And so, like, you can really dive into these stories. And that's why, like, you know, I can't wait to sit down and interview my guy. And so we can really talk, right? And people can see that side, or you can look at other sides of the story. But when he came in the league, what did he walk into? This was a third rounder, right? He wasn't even a starter. They gave him the ball like a week or two before, like, okay, you're the guy.
But that's so far gone.
I know,
now.
But listen to what I'm saying. I'm just saying, now let's go back to, you know, me and you both into mental health, you know, so we understand the process,
right?
Trauma, and then like how you can build things around, like boundaries, guardrails to protect yourself. So when he came in, and I never talked to him about this, you know, but there's speculation and there's stories out there, but wasn't there disrespect in the, you know, guys disrespecting his past marriage, right? His teammates, right? Remember Richard, like, people don't understand the Legion of Boom. These are like the competition and the like, you're talking about the fights every single day that the offense went through against the defense was legendary. It was like the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're on one team now. The Pittsburgh Steelers, okay, versus the Cincinnati Bengals or the Cleveland Browns. Like, legendary, but they're on the same team. And I'm saying that because I have some information, and it's like, think about all these people that's standing up saying, well, Russell Wilson this, I play with him, Russell Wilson that. These are guys that every day was totally disrespectful to Russell Wilson. And so now he built a border around himself to, like, protect himself in that environment. And now the Legion of Boom is gone. Now he can morph and evolve into the leader. Now I'm the guy. And so I say that because I feel like, you know, there came a time where he had to figure out how to survive in that locker room. And then once those guys was gone, it's like, okay, now who am I, the leader? So I just think there's more to it of why Russell Wilson moved the way he moves. And now he's in Denver.
But you having up a barrier to protect yourself and to protect your peace and things like that is different than not being relatable. We had this conversation with Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford is having a hard time relating to his young wide receivers, and it is what's the word I'm looking for? His success as a quarterback relies on his relatability to the guys in the locker room. So what is he doing? He made those Facebook packets so that he can learn about your guys. Yes. When you deal with people, when you are the leader of a football team, you don't have the benefit of it's me and it's you. Mm-hmm. And when we get on the field, let's become one. That's not how that works. If those guys in that locker room cannot relate to you, if those guys in that locker room don't have anything that they see in similarity with you, whether it's the music you like, whether it's how you carry yourself, whether it's the jokes that you make, if there's no form of relatability, you struggle chemistry-wise, and then that trickles down to the performance of the team. All I'm simply saying is I don't need him to go out there and be a drastically different version of himself. And if what you're saying about the Legion of Boom in that era is true, that's over. Okay. Be a Russell Wilson now that people can relate to. Okay. Stop being politician Russell Wilson. Right, we don't like it. It's not getting you anywhere.
So the last thing I have here in response to what you just said, and then if you want to, we can move on. Mm-hmm. Really good conversation. The Russell Wilson in Denver story is totally different than the Russell Wilson in Seattle story. The Russell Wilson in Denver story, he is more relatable. Mm-hmm. He is connected to his teammates. He's flying his teammates to San Diego. They're training. They're flying all over the place. He's going out to dinner. He's doing so much more. Why? Because of what Sean Payton just said. Throw this back up there real quick. Coach Payton said what? Stop worrying about your effing, what'd he say?
Russell
It's an eye-opening tidbit from Seth Wickersham. Okay? Terrific piece on Broncos head coach Sean Payton, who shared his very point message to Russell Wilson.
What are you reading?
He told Russell Wilson to salvage his career, he needed to focus less on Russell Inc. Will you effing stop kissing all the babies, he said. You're not running for public office. So let's break that down. He cares about what people thinks. So now he goes from Seattle to Denver. So now he's actually probably overdoing the whole connecting with guys in the locker room thing. The reason why it's a problem in Denver is not because Russell's not connecting with the guys in the locker room. It's not because he's not relatable. It's because he's not winning. When you go out there and you get this special parking spot, if that's true, if your wife can come to the game and she has a special whatever because she's Sierra, she probably should have more security, or because she has her own fan base. When you do that, when you have your own PT coming into the locker room and other guys don't have that, which Tom Brady has, Peyton Manning did. All of these other guys that came before him did. When you don't win, now it's a problem. Everybody in the locker room will look at you like, yo, we just gave you how much money? You supposed to be the savior, and we losing, and we giving you all of that. That's what the problem in Denver is. It's not that he's not relatable. It's that he's not winning. And then in Seattle, I just want to hit this. It's like I was there and I saw it, and it was so disrespectful, Ashley. This is one of the reasons why they win. Like, it's competition every single day. And I've never seen anything like this where the offense goes against the defense like this. And I'm trying to give you, people more glimpse into like this whole Russell Wilson thing in the Seattle, the Legion of Boom thing. So I was there, and I'm in year 13, Ashley. Mm-hmm. And, my career is pretty much over. All right. But I'm still, listen, I'm still me. I'm still one of the best receivers statistically, that ever come in the game. And I just say that this is just real. This is real. Okay, I hate talking about myself that way, but it's real. So I'm sitting there, and Doug Baldwin's also in that same group, and Doug Baldwin is really good. But Doug Baldwin, I'm sorry, you know what? I'm going to cocky right now. I'm going into me. Doug Baldwin ain't me. We go out to practice, and we're competing in one-on-ones. I help a DB up, shake his hand. I say, good job. We get in the meeting room, we watching film. I'm sitting all the way in the back and all the young dudes in the front. And I'm kicked up just watching film. Doug Baldwin sitting in front of me. He turns around to look at me. He say, we don't do that. We don't fucking shake their hands. Don't ever do that shit again. And this is me. I'm like, oh my goodness, he put me in a situation. Like, why are you talking to me like this? But I understood in that moment. I was like, this is their culture. And I kept my mouth shut. I said, okay. And I ain't say nothing, but I felt some type of way. I'm like, damn, dog, like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, I'm 13-year vet. You know, we got a good relationship. And then you curse at me and you jump on me like that, knowing that I'm liable to stand up and slap you in the head. I should have slapped them in the head. In retrospect, I should have slapped that Doug Baldwin in the head. But see, I ain't come in as myself. I came in like, let me dumb myself down. I should have slapped them in the head, and I probably have been cut the next day. But that's just
well. Listen,
Doug, I should have slapped you in the head, boy. I'm telling you, I love you, boy. I love you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no more beef. And it's my first time getting this off my chest. Ashley, can I get 30 more seconds to get this off my chest? I should have slapped you in your head, boy. That was real disrespectful. And you put me in a situation knowing that I'm at the tail end of my career. One mistake, my ass is on the next plane out. Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. I was a good law-abiding citizen in Seattle. And you put me in position. You put me in position to slap you in the head. Sorry, Ashley.
Well, listen, speaking, I got the stage going. It's going.
Is it working that way, or do I need to go like this? This is what Kyrie did to us.
Yeah, smudging. Just breathe it in, breathe it out.
I love you, Doug, but I should have slapped you in the head, Doug.
Speaking of slapping, speaking of cussing, speaking of all that.